Alright, so this is your video for composite figures. We're going to do both surface area and volume at the same time. So we're going to start with surface area. Remember, what surface area calculates is the amount it would take to cover or to paint something. So what's a little tricky about surface area is you must remember to subtract the overlapping areas. So if you've got two pieces that are touching each other, you're not going to spray paint the bases that are touching, or the faces that are touching each other. So you have to take those out because you don't have to calculate that amount of paint. So, for example, in this picture right here, we have a triangular prism that's stuck to a rectangular prism. So we're going to calculate the area, a surface area of the triangular prism and the rectangular prism separately, and then we're going to subtract the two rectangles that are stuck together so that we don't count those because we're not going to paint those per se. Alright, so surface area of a triangular prism would be PH plus 2B. Now more than ever, it's important that you label and put your formulas because there's many places to mess up. So triangular prism, this is 3, this is 4, so this would be 5. So this would have a perimeter of 12 and a height of 2. Remember, height is the distance between the two bases. So if the triangle is here and here, then this would be the height of the prism, which would be 2. Okay, plus 2b, so this is 1/2 BH. The 2 and the 1/2 cancel out. The base is 3/4. So we have 24 plus 12 is 36 for the triangular prism. Then we're going to do the rectangular prism. So we have, again, PH plus 2B. So what is this? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 for the perimeter. The height is 2. Plus 2 times the area of the base is 8. So we have 24 plus 16. So what is that, 40? Then we're going to subtract out the two rectangles where they're overlapping, because if we were painting those, we wouldn't put paint on this bottom rectangle from the triangular prism or the top rectangle here. So we need to take those two out. So 2, what are those? 4/2s. So that would be minus 16. So we have 36 from the triangular prism plus 40 from the rectangular prism minus the 16 from the bases that we're not going to paint, which leaves us with a total surface area of 60 centimeters squared. Okay, so this is kind of the long way to do the problem, is to do total, and then take out the two bases. But what I want you to start thinking of is an easier way to do this. So here, we added in the 16 from these two bases of the rectangular prisms, the 4/2 here and the 4/2 here, but I didn't need those because I just turned around and re-subtracted them back out again. So instead of doing total for the triangular prism, total for the rectangular prism, and then subtracting, it would have been easier and quicker had I done total of the triangular prism plus lateral of the rectangular prism, and that would have left me with 60 right away. So we can start thinking about those kind of things to make things go smoother for us. Okay, pause here and try the second one. Okay, so for this one, I want to do total of the rectangular prism, and then there's going to be two circles that I don't paint. The bottom of the cylinder is not going to get painted. And if I take that off, there's actually going to be a hole right there in the rectangular prism where the circle was. So instead of taking off those two circles, one for the cylinder, one for the rectangular prism, I'm just going to do lateral of the cylinder. So total for the rectangle, lateral for the cylinder, and that leaves me with 202 plus 12 pi centimeters squared. So hopefully you got that as well. Alright, let's do example 3 together. Now these pictures are kind of hard to see, but what's going on here is there is a cylinder bore through the rectangular prism. So that's actually a hole all the way through the rectangular prism. So we need to think about what we want to paint and what we don't want to paint. Okay, so we're going to do total of the rectangular prism because I am getting all of those things. Then if there's a hole of that cylinder, I actually am going to be painting the inside of this thing in here. All of this stuff is going to get painted. That's the lateral inside the middle of the cube, so that will get painted. But what I need to do is I need to take out 2 of the circles because I'm going to cut out a circle out of the rectangular prism that I've already calculated. And I'm going to cut out a circle out of the bottom of the rectangular prism. So I do still have to take out 2 circles, even though I never really did the cylinder. It's not from the cylinder, it's from cutting a hole in the rectangular prism. Cutting a hole in the rectangular prism. So hopefully this plan makes sense to you, because the plan's the new part. This part is all what we've been doing. So perimeter times height plus 2b plus 2 pi r h minus 2 pi r squared. Okay. Let me get my calculator. Okay, so we have a perimeter of 80. The height of the prism is 20 plus 2 times 24 times 16 plus 2 pi. The radius is 4. Height is still 20 minus 2 pi 4 squared. Okay, so we're going to have regular integer components and then we're going to have pi components. So we'll want to keep those separate. So 80 times 20 plus 2 times 24 times 16. This is 2368. And then we have 2 times 4 times 20 minus 2 times 4 squared is 128 pi feet squared. Okay, so once you get the kind of plan or formula for what you want to do, then it's easier from there. You plug in your formulas you know, and you plug in the numbers just like we have been for a few weeks. So really focus on getting the right plan in place before you get started, because that's the new part. Okay, try example 4, which is the same sort of thing. Alright, so I did lateral area of the cube because this part is open right here, so I'm actually missing 2 squares. 1, I'm missing the base of the pyramid, and 2, I'm missing what would have been the top of the cube. So there's actually 2 squares not there, which is why I only did lateral of the cube, is because I don't want 2 of the squares to be there. Okay, and then I did lateral of the pyramid because I am actually going to paint these triangles right there. Okay, so pH would be, perimeter would be 8 times a height of 2 plus 1/2 PL, so 1/2. Perimeter would be 8, and then I need slant height. I have the vertical height is 2, so if the vertical height is 2, the apothem, if you will, is 1. So that gives my slant height the square root of 5. 16 plus 4 on the square root of 5. Okay, so surface area of composites is actually the hardest thing from chapter 10. Volume is pretty easy because remember that volume is the amount it would take to fill up an object. So you don't have to worry about any overlapping. You either add the 2 objects together or you subtract them. There's no fear of overlap like there is for surface area. So this should be pretty simple. So all I'm going to do here is I'm going to do the volume of the triangular prism, and then I'm going to add the volume of the rectangular prism. Just that easy. Okay, so this is BH plus another BH. So this B is 1/2 BH. So 1/2, the base is 8. This is an equilateral triangle, 8 by 8 by 8. So the height is 4 on the square root of 3. The height of the triangle, that is. The height of the actual prism is 4, and then plus volume of the rectangular prism would be 8 by 4 by 5. So this is going to be a radical component. So 4 times 4 times 4 is 64. And then this one, let's see, 8 times 4 times 5 would be 160. centimeters, and now I'm back to volume, so that would be centimeters cubed. Okay, very good. All right, try the next one, the subtraction one, and see if you can do that. Last one. All right, so we're going to do volume of the rectangular prism, and then we are just going to subtract out the pyramid. So no worries of overlaps or lateral or total or any of that. So volume of the rectangular prism would be 25 by 12 by 15. Then 1/3 the pyramid here. So 1/3, 25 by 12 by 15. Because I want to do vertical height, I don't even have to do slant height anymore, so I don't have to worry about that. So what I noticed after I did this is this, if I didn't use the shortcut, I would have known that that's base times height minus 1/3 base times height. Where in this case, the prism and the pyramid, they have the same base and they have the same height. So these are all going to be the same. So my shortcut, what I should have noticed, but I didn't, is that I should have just done 2/3. Because 1 base height minus 1/3 base height is 2/3 base times height. So that should have been my shortcut there. I didn't recognize it until I was already too far, but maybe you did. So that would end up being 3,000 total. Okay, the more of these you work, the easier they get. So we will work several in class next time I see you.